What's up, Broncos country? Welcome to another edition of Broncos Daily with your host, Kurt Valenti. Please like and subscribe to the page and also leave some comments throughout the shows. Tonight, we're actually going to get to our first segment of reading some of the viewers' comments, so I'm excited about that. So please leave your comments, leave your thoughts, and I will get to it on another show. But again, we got a lot to talk about. A lot going on. Again, day 2 now of the 2026 off season, officially with the Super Bowl over and we're into next season. We're going to talk a bit about odds for next year. We're going to talk a little of the draft, a little of free agency, a little trade. We're going to talk a little bit about everything because, listen, this is exciting times for us Bronco fans. Again, legit Super Bowl contenders, with a legit franchise quarterback, with one of, if not the best head coach in football. So, hey, I am excited. I am ready to go. So, hey, let's kick this show off. Yesterday, a tight end, an unrestricted tight end in the NFL who will be available once free agency hits, David Njoku, sent out a thank you to his former team, the Cleveland Browns, saying, thank you for my 9 years, but I will not be returning to Cleveland, meaning he's going to become an unrestricted free agent. So why is that news for us Bronco fans? Well, we need a tight end. We need another tight end, at least one. And for the past couple of years, and especially last year at the trade deadline, there were rumors of the Broncos being interested in David Njoku. So let's look at some pros and some cons of, should the Broncos pursue him? I've said it from day one being on this show. We need to be better at the tight end spot. Evan Ingram was one of our prized free agent signings last year. It didn't work out. It's not that he had a terrible year, but again, he wasn't the player he was in Jacksonville. Don't know if he's going to be that player going forward. Can he be better than he was last year? Absolutely. But do we need to have, get additional talent in that room? 100%. And now we know there's another guy on the market in David Njoku, right? The thing about him, again, 9 years in Cleveland, 34 career touchdowns, 384 career receptions, only second in history to Cleveland to Ozzie Newsome. So that's a nice list to be on. The other thing I like about him is he's a great physical blocker, right? Like that's something that Ingram isn't. So Ingram's more of just like a quote unquote pass catcher at the tight end spot. But Njoku could do both, right? He's more physical. He's still got, I think, a lot left in the tank. It's going to be year 10. So he's not young, but he's not an older player, right? So, his last contract, he was about $13 million per year. I don't think he's going to get $13 million now, year 10. And he's a little injury prone, right? He missed 11 games, I believe, the last 2 seasons. But when he is healthy, he is one of the better offensive weapon as a tight end in the NFL. The thing, again, is, would he be my first choice? No. Like I said, we spoke about this. I'm hitting up Arizona. Is Trey McBride going to be available? Can I, get him out of Arizona? Then you have a lot of other available free agents that, I have to look at. Kyle Pitts from Atlanta, Isaiah Likely from Baltimore, Dallas Goedert from Philadelphia. That's just to name a few. Obviously, we have Sadiq in the draft from Oregon, who I would love to pair him back with Bo Nix. And, again, whether he's going to fall to 30, and we're going to talk about the draft in a second. But Njoku is a player that I would be intrigued by. Again, I think the money has to matter. I think, I don't know if he would, like I said, be my first choice. But to pair Njoku up with Evan Ingram, I like that. I like that a lot. It gives us 2 weapons. Again, he's a little more physical, so Njoku will help more in the run game, which, we have to get better in the run game. But when we do have to throw it around, I would not mind him. Again, I'm not doing $11 million a year or $13 million a year. I'm not doing a longer, deal with him. He is in his 10th year, 29 years old. He's going to be 30. So, would I like to go a little younger? I would, but I like this player. So I'm not scratching this off the list. I'm not going to say this is my first priority because it's not. But I am definitely keeping the options open with David Njoku. Talking now, we talked a little bit about free agency with Njoku. Let's talk a little bit about the NFL draft. And when we talk about the NFL draft, obviously, it's always about quarterbacks and defensive players and, these great wide receivers. And sometimes early in the draft, running backs get overlooked, or people say, it's way too early to take a running back that high in the draft. I do not believe that. If you have a talented player, right? I always look back at, Ezekiel Elliott when he first came out of Ohio State, what he did for Dallas, right? Saquon Barkley and the kind of running back that he was with the Giants, and then obviously, last year, 2 years ago with the Philadelphia Eagles. Bijan Robinson, probably the best running back now at Atlanta, got drafted very high. Ashton Janty last year with the Raiders taken very high. I do not believe that you cannot take a running back that high. If he is that talented, if it is a need for you, and he is, hey, this might be a top 2 or 3 or even the best running back in football, go draft him. So what does that have to do with our Broncos, you're asking? Well, we need a running back. We've said this on the show. I'm going to say it on the show every time until we get a running back. We need a running back. We probably need 2. Our running back room is not great. I love J.K. Dobbins, but I don't trust him. I don't trust the health. He's injured a lot. You saw what happened. We didn't have him, for the last 6-7 games going into the postseason. We had, our run game was non-existent besides running our quarterback, Bo Nix. R.J. Harvey, again, I love him too, but, is it a little early to say you are now our running back 1 when we're going to, play for championships? So, I want to upgrade that room. We've mentioned with the free agency, the Breece Halls, the ETNs, the Algiers, and all that stuff. But what about the draft, right? What about the draft? What about the one name that, everybody keeps saying is a can't-miss prospect, where when he comes into the NFL, immediately he's going to be one of, if not the best backs in the NFL, and that's Notre Dame's Jeremiah Love. Absolute stud, right? Absolute stud. Last year, almost 200 carries, almost 1,400 yards, 18 rushing touchdowns, 21 touchdowns total with receiving touchdowns. He averaged 6.9 yards a carry. 7 yards a carry. I mean, just flat out stud. Could we use him on our offense? Oh, listen, that would be my ultimate first choice if we could go get him. Here's the problem. He's going to be probably a top 10 pick, and we're drafted number 30. Would I want to go get him? Yes, 100%. Why? He fills a need from day one, as he would be our starting running back. He would not, this is important, he would not command what a Breece Hall and ETN is going to cost, especially towards the salary cap, right? Like, we're going to spend $9 to $10 to $11 million. We're not going to, you wouldn't do that with a top 10 pick. It's going to cost you maybe in the long run, but it's not going to cost you salary cap wise. But look at the fit on this Broncos offense, what he would do. It would be like a marriage made in heaven, right? Listen, he is explosive, but he's also like an in-between tackle runner, which we do not have. Picture like J.K. Dobbins, younger, more explosive, a little more physical, and a healthy J.K. Dobbins. That's what he is, right? That's what he is. Here's the issue. How do we get him, right? How do we get from 30 to, say, 10? Or, 11, 12 if he drops? It's going to cost a lot. And, would I be willing to move up and maybe trade some future capital for a guy like Love? Yes, I would, 100%. But how do we take that chance, right? Like, see, this is my problem with that. Free agency starts before the draft. So if we're going to put all our eggs in that basket of, okay, let's go make a move for Love and we're going to trade, and, there's no guarantee that we can get that deal done. So are we going to pass up on Breece Hall, Algier, ETN, and any other running back, whether it's, trade or anybody else free agency, bringing Dobbins back? How do we just go and say, we're not going to do nothing in free agency, and we now show our hand in the draft that we really need a running back? So if a team does want to trade with us, they know we need to go get a running back. They're going to ask for more. We're going to have to give up more. So I'm torn with that. Do I love the player? Absolutely. If you could tell me any running back, I could have any running back, whether it's a draft, a free agent, or a trade. I mean, if you're going to give me Christian McCaffrey, I'll take Christian McCaffrey. I just don't think he's going to be available. But if you say to me, take another running back, I'm taking Love. Because, listen, younger, he's not going to cost as much. And honestly, I think he's the best running back prospect out of anyone who's a free agent, anyone who's going to be available via the draft, and anybody who's going to be available via any kind of trade. So I would do it. The problem is, it's a risk, because how do I get from 30 to 10? It's not easy. And, I'm giving up everything in free agency. I'm not going to sign a player to go get him. Now, I'm not going to probably get Breece Hall and draft Jeremiah Love, because you're not going to spend $12 million and be splitting the backfield. But I would go get an Algier from Atlanta. I would do something like that. And now still pair him with Love, and maybe Love and Algier. There's your combination, and Love eventually will take over that offense, the offensive backfield. But I'm doing something like that. So, listen, what's your thoughts? First off, a couple things to ask you guys to comment. Would you guys trade up for him? He's not going to last to 30. He's probably not going to last past 10, 11, 12. Hopefully he doesn't go to Kansas City, because, I don't want to have to deal with this guy twice a year and then in the postseason. So, would you guys be willing to move up? And then would you guys be willing to kind of not go all in on free agency and say, hey, we're going to gamble and see if we can get him in the draft? So, torn a little bit about it. But again, I think he's the best prospect. I think he's going to maybe be the best player to come out of this draft. So I am intrigued. But like I said, we got to see what they do in free agency. If it's a Breece Hall or an ETN, I don't think it'll be Love. If it's an Algier, bring back a Dobbins, and that's all we do, hey, why not? We need a running back. I have no problem investing if I have to send, a 1 and a 3, R1, R3, maybe next year or 2, like, to move up. Let's do it. Let's do it. I love him. I think he's going to be probably the premier running back in the next 3 years. But again, it's not going to be easy to do. So, we'll see which way the Broncos go on that. Leading off a little of the free agent and the draft. Obviously, when 2026 came out yesterday, we talked a bit about power rankings. But, that's just somebody's, these are my power rankings. This is how I'm going to rank them. So Fox did it. ESPN did it. But also what came out are the odds, the Vegas odds, right? So where the money's going to be placed and, what people are thinking of everybody's chances next year. So let's just go over a couple of things. And this is going to fire me up, because I don't agree and believe in these odds. I'm sorry, I don't. Let's start with division odds. We are the defending AFC West champions, 14-3. Lost an AFC championship game without our starting quarterback. And we are the third favorites to win the AFC West next year. They got the Chargers, the Chiefs, and then our Broncos third. Are you joking? Talk about disrespect. We're the best team in this division. I believe we have the best quarterback now in the division, with Mahomes being hurt and getting a little older. We definitely have the best defense in the division. Sean Payton, I would consider him the best coach in the division. We're going to upgrade our skill guys in the offseason, and we're behind the Chargers and the Chiefs. This is going to fire this Bronco team and this Bronco organization up. Good. You know what? Good. Put us third. Absolutely insane, but, you want to do that? You talk about motivation? Listen, we want to get to that Super Bowl next year. It should be motivation enough that we didn't get there. Hey, we got robbed that our starting quarterback didn't play, but now you're going to put us third? Just total disrespect. And again, nothing against the Chiefs or the Chargers, but our Broncos are the best team in this division. So again, we'll see after the offseason if the odds change. But right now, third, they are plus 215 to win the division, so almost 2-1 to win the division. Just don't agree with it. I think it's very disrespectful. But we'll see where how that motivates our Broncos. Now we get to the AFC to win the AFC to win the conference. The Broncos are 6th. The Ravens, the Bills, Chargers, Patriots, Chiefs, and then Broncos. The Broncos are plus 950 to win the AFC. Again, very disrespectful. We should have, and I'll always say it, I believe we were the best team this past year. Didn't have Bo Nix, so we didn't get to the Super Bowl. But now you're saying that there's 5 teams that are better than us? The Ravens? Right? The Ravens with Lamar, who's always hurt, a new coach. They're going to be, they're more favorites than us. Buffalo, we just saw that matchup, right? We just beat Buffalo. We just, stopped Josh Allen. Bo outplayed Josh Allen, and they're going to be higher than us. Then we get to the Chargers, who haven't won a playoff game. Herbert hasn't won a playoff game. Harbaugh hasn't won a playoff game with the Chargers, and they're going to be ahead of us. Patriots, again, don't get me fired up on that. They didn't belong there this year. And again, hey, I give them credit, but let's be real. They're not beating us with Bo Nix. And we just saw what that performance looked like in, the Super Bowl against Seattle. So they're going before us. Kansas City, again, this isn't 3 years ago. We're a way better team in every facet of the game. We're better than them. Offensive line's better. Okay? Defense is better. I'm taking the coaching staff better. Like, where are they better than us? You're going to tell me Mahomes is better than Bo Nix? I don't know. I'm going to argue with you. He has a better career, but Mahomes has not been the same the past 2-3 years, coming off a major injury. Bo Nix might look like he's the better quarterback. So they're over us. So we're the 6th best team with the 6th best odds to get out of the AFC. Again, I'm happy. Listen, put us lower. Put us lower. Totally disrespectful. This is something, hey, the team you got to step up and listen. Not that it matters and they're going to be right or wrong, but I mean, come on. Come on. You were, 3 points away from winning the AFC with your backup quarterback. And now we're 6th. Just don't agree with it. Now when you get to winning the Super Bowl, we are tied. We are 13th to win the Super Bowl. It's only 32 teams. It's almost half. There's 12 teams. So all the teams I've read from the AFC, plus you got Seattle, the Rams, the Packers, the Eagles, the Lions, the 49ers. I just don't agree. Totally do not agree. And listen, again, it doesn't matter. That doesn't mean anything. And we'll see after moves are made. Obviously, I think there'll be adjustments. But, just the disrespect. I think the disrespect the Broncos have gotten all year long, right? They can't, they're always winning these close games. They're not beating anybody. They're not winning big. And then the Buffalo game kind of quieted people for a little bit. But then all of a sudden, it was just back to the disrespect of the Denver Broncos. Fine. Hey, let's play with a chip on our shoulders. Let's get this done. And you know what? Hey, we need some bulletin board material. Thank you, Vegas. Keep giving it to us. Keep making us lower and lower odds. But just totally don't agree with it. I'm picking our Broncos to come out of the AFC next year. I can tell you that right now. Especially, that's even looking now before this off season. And I think this off season is going to be electric. I think we're going to get a bunch of weapons. So I hope the odds change a little bit. And if they don't, who cares? Let's just get it done on the field because that's what matters. I'm excited for this last segment tonight, and that's some viewer comments, right? I ask you guys, leave some comments. I want to read the comments, and we'll have some discussions on here, like we'll talk about it. So I got 4 comments I want to read tonight. And again, thank you for everyone who has commented. Thank you for everyone who has subscribed, who have liked the page. If you haven't subscribed and liked, please do it. If you haven't commented, please comment, and I will get to these comments throughout the shows. So first comment from Michael Ronquillo. Good morning, Kurt Valenti. Have a great show. Go Bo Broncos. I know Michael Ronquillo is a big Bronco fan, so thank you, Michael, for chiming in and saying hello. The next comment is from Chuck Lowe, and he says this was talking about the backup quarterback situation. Good insights, especially about Stiddy. No one is admitting this in the media. When I talked about Jarrett Stidham what I said was, again, he was probably in a no-win situation, right, of what he was asked to do to win a AFC championship game with no reps in 2 years. Not reps, but no, snaps in 2 years, just reps and stuff like that. But he did not play well. And, we have to call it like it is. If we are in that situation the next two or three couple of years when we're trying to vie for a Super Bowl and God forbid Bo Nix goes down, do you have faith that the best option is Jarrett Stidham, especially for being one of the higher paid backups in the league? I say no. If we can upgrade, and again, I just mentioned some, a Kirk Cousins, if he's available, a Mariota, Tyrod Taylor, just to throw some names out where, a little more experience, a little more been there, done that. I'm going to look into that. Probably not going to cost as much as Stidham. And, what has Stidham really shown? I mean, not a terrible backup, but this isn't a bit about, now it's about when we need you in a huge game, a championship, a Super Bowl, a playoff type game. Can we depend on you? He did not show it in the AFC championship game. So that is a spot. I'm not going to close the book on him, but I'm 100% going to look to see if I can upgrade, especially in experience for that position. Next comment is from Pearl Heater. And she's talking about when we were talking about, are you worried? I asked you guys, are you worried about Bo Nix's ankles going forward? Again, another injury. Supposedly this is his second or third in his career. And we all know that, Sean came out and said this wasn't a question of if, it was about when. So my question was just, are you worried about him being injury prone going forward? And Pearl Heater is saying, my feeling after having 2 broken ankles after falling off horses, I am not worried about Nix. However, I can see them using a brace on him. This will not hinder his mobility at all. I agree with you. I like that you said, the mobility part, because that's a big part of Bo Nix, right? That's what makes him, off play, off script, scrambling around, using his legs. That's what makes Bo. And I don't want to give that up. So I don't want to just say, we have to make him a different quarterback. Do we need to run him 10 to 15, 20 times a day? No, I don't want to do what Baltimore does with Lamar Jackson or even what Buffalo does with Josh Allen. I want him to be first and foremost a pocket quarterback who's mobile. But I'm not going to worry about it. I think Bo's a competitor. I think he's going to come back 100% healthy. And I can't see him, playing with fear and not doing this. And, listen, maybe he has to, learn, okay, slide a little, run out of bounds, don't take a hit, but when the game's on the line, this guy's a competitor. He's going to be mobile. He's going to run. He's going to do whatever he's got to do to get the first down, do whatever he's got to do. So I'm with you, Pearl. I'm not worried about it. And I believe he'll have all the mobility that he's ever had. And my last comment. And again, thank you guys for these comments. I love these comments. I love interacting. I'll do this on every show if you guys send some comments. This is from Lonnie Alexander. This was commenting when I was mentioning about my Super Bowl memories and Super Bowl 32 in particular. He says, I was in my second year of college for the Denver-Dallas Super Bowl. The Broncos faithful knew that in 1983 was going to bring many Super Bowl memories. Nobody expected Elway to wait so long for the Lombardis. I agree, right? Especially when Elway in 86 got his first Super Bowl, and it was just like, he got one in 80. Well, I'm not sorry, got to one in 86, 87, and 89. You're like, this is going to happen every year. But that did not happen. He did not get back until 97. But it's why I always say, it's about a championship window. You have a window. You can't just look and listen. I hope we have Bo Nix for 15 years and he gives us all those great years. But you can't say every year is going to be a championship year, right? You're going to have injuries that are going to happen. You're going to have, salary restraints. We're going to have to pay Bo Nix in a couple of years a lot of money. And that's going to we're not going to be able to have so much talent around them and just things, the ball's not going to bounce your way. So I agree with him. I would have never thought it's going to be that long also for Elway. But I'm glad it happened. Looking back now, I didn't care if it was 86, 97, 98. It doesn't matter. He got the 2 Super Bowls. He deserved it. Again, it's something that I will never forget. But I want more. And I know Bronco Country, you want more. So thank you again, Lonnie, for that comment. And again, please comment throughout the show. Leave your comments. Leave your thoughts. Agree with me, disagree with me, ask me a question, and we will go through viewer comments on all the shows and, get you guys involved with this. I love interacting with you guys. And, so just make sure you, comment throughout the shows. But again, this is going to do it for another edition of Broncos Daily. Again, please like, subscribe. You guys are doing a great job subscribing. Please send it out. Get some other of your Bronco fans to subscribe. Come join. Let's come talk Broncos. We have a great offseason ahead of us. I am excited. I know you guys are excited. I can't wait till free agency starts, the draft, any kinds of trades. And we find out about the schedule, OTAs, mini camps, preseason. And then here we go in September and we get ready and we go for Super Bowl number 4. So I am excited. Please come join the ride. Leave your comments, subscribe, like, and join me for another edition of Broncos Daily. Have a good night.